Hi everyone and welcome back. Today I thought it would be fun to take you along with me as I make a masterboard. And if you're not familiar with what a masterboard is, it's actually just a large piece of paper, cardstock, something like that, that you do a big collage on, and then you cut it apart and you can turn it into either cards or tags or journaling spots, all kinds of things. You can, do punch out shapes with it. So it's basically a great way to use up all of your excess paper, whether it's vintage paper, scrapbook paper. I have a little bit of everything paper to work with today. And the theme that I wanted to work with today was kind of like a retro theme, kind of retro kitchen, retro lady theme. I do a lot of journals that include kind of a home type theme. And so I figure I could make a masterboard and cut it apart and make some things for future journals. And then I'll just have the cards or the little bits and pieces on hand that I can use for my journals. So let me show you what I am going to be working with. So first of all, my favorite type of paper to work with for masterboards is this heavyweight 110-pound white cardstock. And this is a smooth texture cardstock. This is by Coordinations. And it doesn't have any texture to it. So sometimes you'll get that scrapbook paper, which I actually like to use for scrapbooking, the scrapbook paper that's got kind of the crosshatch texture on it. You want to have a smoother textured cardstock because this will help the glue to adhere to all the pieces and everything. You won't get anything peeling off because of if you have the texture on it. So this is just a smooth 12 by 12 sheet of cardstock. And then I'm going to start with one right now, but this is a good size because it's, large enough where you can cut out a lot of different pieces and you can get quite a bit out of it. I just wanted to raise up the camera just a little bit so you can kind of see a little bit more. It's hard to get everything in the picture, but I think I got most of it so you can kind of get an idea. I'll move the cardstock around so you can see. But so we're starting out with this, and then this is going to be my base. And then the next thing I like to think about is the types of background pieces I want to use, or the layering pieces. And for this, I'm diving into my large scrap box, and this is bits and pieces of larger bits and pieces of scrapbook paper and other types of vintage paper that are left over from journals or from making die cuts or anything like that. So they're bigger pieces that I can use for maybe even another journal page or cards or something like that, but they're a little too small to put back into my little dividers because otherwise they might get lost. So these are really nice cases to kind of keep everything together. So I went ahead and pulled some of my papers that I thought would be really good for this particular project. So let me show you what I found. So, and kind of going with that retro theme, I kind of grabbed a little bit of everything as far as pattern is concerned. So I wanted to get some grid patterns. And then the color theme too is just sort of lighter and brighter colors. So I kind of just grabbed anything that seemed like it would be really good for some backgrounds. And then I have a ton of October afternoon paper too. And I think I included a couple pieces, but a lot of times I like to save that for journal pages. So I don't want to use it in a collage because then I won't be able to use it for anything else. I mean, I guess I could use it for a journal card too. So I don't know. I do have a couple pieces in here that I may use, but I've got some florals in here, kind of some fun retro patterns. I don't know where a lot of the scrapbook paper is from. I kind of wish I would have kept a book about, where or wrote on the back or something of where these came from, but I have so much scrap paper. It was like, it's too late now, but I wish I could remember where some of this came from. A lot of it is really old. But, oh, and I've also got some words. That's always good to have on a collage background. So lots of pieces to work with here. So this is going to be kind of my second layer of my masterboard. And then for layering on top, I like to use little pieces of kind of like thinner paper. And I have this is actually a coupon little accordion file, but I have little pieces of thin paper, kind of like ledger paper and that kind of stuff, little newsprint, some nice little or not photos, but like little images. And these are nice and thin, kind of like newsprint thinness. And they're good to kind of add on top of the second layer. So I've got these to work with too. They're kind of more neutral. And then for yet another layer, I like to work with some of my extra scrapbook ephemera. So these are from ephemera packs from different scrapbook collections. And I picked ones that were kind of a retro lady theme. I have this whole little box of ladies, like paper doll type ladies. So there's tons to work with here. I think that I'm going to kind of work using these as kind of the main theme. So kind of trying to incorporate these ladies into it because I think that'll be a nice, make for a nice masterboard. So I've got these, and then I've got some other just little bits and pieces here, just some flowers and that kind of stuff. So I'll just kind of add things in as I think they might go. And then I have some printables too. I don't know. I thought because of the flowers, this might be something interesting to use. So these are some printables I got off of Etsy, and I printed them out and trimmed them. So I may use some of these. And then I just have some other extra, a few kind of Maggie Holmes. I have this huge box of Maggie Holmes ephemera from all of her scrapbook collections, but I just love the colors, and they're always nice to kind of add into collages and things like that. So I've got these. So let me go ahead and get started on the base of the masterboard. Okay, so I'm going to begin with the first layer, kind of like the background, or the main background. And something I forgot to mention was the type of adhesive I'm going to be using. And for this particular, for masterboards, I really like to just use a glue stick. This is the Oohoo Magic Glue Stick. And this is just, you know, basic glue stick. It's nice and wide, so you can cover a lot of space quickly. Normally it's blue. I know this particular one isn't. It goes on blue and then dries clear, mainly so you can see if you got adhesive everywhere, because sometimes it's hard to see with just a clear stick. But for some reason this one wasn't blue, but it still works. So I'm going to use this, and I'm going to get started with my little basket of scrapbook papers here. So I want to try having a kind of a brighter background, because I know my journals this fall are going to have kind of some, you know, bolder colors, or kind of more like fall colors, but I can also include some other lighter color, or some other pinks, but brighter pinks and brighter greens and things like that. So that's what I'm going to do with this one. So let's see. Yeah, I do like this kind of grid paper. So I think I'm going to use a piece of this. I have my little trimmer again. This is just kind of a mini trimmer, but a lot of times with collage, I do like to just use a ruler, because you kind of get that not so perfect edge when you kind of rip the paper. So I might just use that just to kind of keep it more kind of free flowing. But then I will trim off the edges of the masterboard when I'm done. So I think I'm just going to use the plain part of this. You know what though, I'm gonna trim off this white edge here. I just trimmed off the white edge just so I can work with it more easily, kind of lining it up at the edge of the cardstock here. So I'm just going to rip this piece here. think I'll save this one for another project. So I'm just going to start adhering. You know what though? I might no, you know what? I'm just going to stick things down. We'll see how it goes. Sometimes some people like to kind of lay all their papers down first and then adhere them. You can do that kind of to be safe, but I think just for this, I'm just going to go ahead and go with it and just kind of, I can always, you know, rip off the piece of paper and move it around, but I think I'm just going to just keep things moving because, you know, that's part of it too. You don't want to think too much. That was like with the little cluster embellishments I was making. It almost worked out better when I wasn't putting too much thought into it. I ended up getting a lot of cluster embellishments just by kind of having fun and just putting things together quickly. So I'm going to start down with this corner. I'm actually just lining this up at the corner because I want those numbers to be included. So got that right there. Let's see what else I have in here. Okay, something a little, actually, I might put this piece down. It's got some red in it, and I know for the fall, I'm probably will be including some red pieces. I do like that too. Okay, let me keep going with this. Okay, again, I'm going to trim off this edge here, just to make it easier to work with. This is a handy little trimmer. I have a larger version of this too, but the little one's nice to use on your desk, you know, for card making and other smaller journal projects. So again, I'm going to kind of tear off a piece here. And I think I'll line that up here. This image is cute too with the little ovens. I think I use that as a page in one of my journals, but I still have another little part of it that maybe I can use for something else. Okay, I'm just gonna, oops, this needs a little bit more adhesive. Stick it right there. I just gotta line it up right next to it. Okay, let me find some other things to put on here. Actually, I might use that too. Let's see, do I like the pink? That's kind of fun, the strawberries. I might consider that. Let's see. This bright green, kind of, this is more of a teal, so I kind of want to stay in the same color group. Yeah, I already have a little crosshatch thing, or like a little grid design going on. That's a possibility. Let's see. That's kind of cute with the houses. I don't know. I might keep it floral. Oh, here's some words. I think I'm going to use that. And then okay, let me work with this for right now. Kind of see how much room we have left. Okay, this I'm going to put up in the corner here. The glue stick gives you a little bit of time to kind of move things around if you need to. So once you put it down, you got a bit of time to, you know, peel something up if you want to move it around. But so that's good. And then when it dries pretty strongly. So Let's see, I am going to, oh, I love that strawberry paper. You know what? I might just put this right across the middle. Yeah, I like that. I like the overlapping. Now, sometimes when you work with the pieces of scrapbook paper, I don't know about you, but I kind of feel guilty, like I'm like wasting the paper in a way because it's like a page I can't use in my journals. But the thing is, you know, you're creating something new with this, and you're going to be making journal cards or tags or other, you know, like greeting cards or something like that. So you have to think of it that way. It's turning into something. You're not really wasting it. Sometimes I'll think that way when I'm doing collage, like, you know, just for the fun of it. I think, well, am I wasting the paper? But no, it's part of your just being creative. I mean, that's the whole point of the papers and the ephemera and things. It's just to kind of enjoy yourself and do art. I mean, if you're a painter, you don't look at your paints and say, oh, well, I'm wasting my paint by creating something or trying different things. It's just, you know, you got to use what you have and experiment a little bit, because that's when you end up with like really interesting things. So I'm just going to put this right across here. There's a little white space on the side here. I may fill that in, or I might just trim off the sides. I'll just kind of see how it goes. But I really like that, how it kind of crosses over in the middle. So that's looking good. Let me see what else. I had this floral, which I really like, but maybe I'll save that for later. That might be something I can add later. Let's see. I could put that like that. Let me see what else I have to work with. That looks kind of good. The blue. Although I don't really have any other blue on this. Let me keep going with these pieces. That's kind of interesting. I could put that here. And then put another, I don't know if that's too orange though. It might be too much. I do like these though, going on here. Here. Later. I like that. You know what though? I think I'm going to put a matching one up here, just to kind of, because you also want to have things kind of, you want your eye to kind of move around the page a little bit. So to kind of have some things that are matching in each corner is always good too. So I might have, I might just do like a thicker, I'll just trim off this little folded piece here and use the rest of it for the corner up here. That'll be good. These glue sticks are great because they come in packs of multiples, like 3 or 4. So it's always good to have extras around, because I'm always losing my glue sticks or my tape runners. I had a bunch of these Tombow tape runners. I use these all the time for cards and for other types of journaling things. And you buy the refills, and then you have a main part of the piece that you just refill all the time. Well, I lost the main part, so I had to rebuy that part. So that I could use my refills. So that was I still haven't found the tape runner. I don't usually lose stuff, but I think just with I was doing a lot of different projects, and I think that it got mixed in. Okay, you know what? I don't want to overlap yet, so I'm going to line this up, and then I'll overlap later. Like that. There we go. Okay. Okay, so I've got that, and then I need another piece for here. I'm going to use 2 of these pieces, and I'm going to just include this on the other side to kind of even it out again. So I'm going to actually put that there. Actually, I'm just going to go with it. Okay, and then I'm going to match this down here, maybe towards the middle. I want to block that. Let's see. Oh, you know what? I'll just put this right here. I like this fabric, different fabric washi. I think I'm going to use this gingham. Yeah, that'll look good. Kind of have that. Yeah, I like that. So this is kind of turning into sort of a farmhouse type look, but I think it'll be good for my journals. I'm going to go ahead and trim off the edges of this to kind of get the lay of the land as far as what this is going to look like. So I will be right back. Okay, so now you can kind of see everything's trimmed off, so I can kind of see what I need to fill in. So that actually looks really good. I'm going to add some of this washi. Oh, good. I was hoping I had another roll. This is my last of this. Okay, I'm going to put this up on this end here. Actually, I'm just going to trim it off here. This washi does have some adhesive on it, but what I like to do with washi tape is always add a little bit of tape onto the back of it just to make sure it sticks down well, because otherwise it can peel up. So let me take the backing off of this, and then I'm going to just add some score tape to it. So I love this score tape. This is super strong, thin tape, and it comes in a lot of different sizes. So I usually have a size for everything that I'm working with. I'm not sure what, it doesn't say what size this is, but this fits perfectly. So it's kind of, this looks like it's about a 1/2 inch. So all you have to do is just, I'm going to go end to end with this. It fits perfectly on top like this. Oops. And you can just tear it off. You don't even need scissors. And that's ready to go. And then I'm just going to line it up. Trim off this edge here. Line it up with the top here. And that'll cover up that little extra space. Get that. And then I'm going to do a matching line just down here to kind of cover up this spot here, and also kind of match with what's going on here. So in the Masterboards, like I said, it's good to kind of have not just a mishmash. You want to kind of have things that match on either side, to kind of so your eye can move around and everything kind of makes sense and kind of coordinates. So I'm going to add another little piece of tape here. You can also lay your score tape down first and do it that way. if you know it's going to fit perfectly on there. I'm just going to put it right here. Tear it off. All right, so I got the first layer on here. So next I'm going to work on the second layer, and I'm going to use some of my thinner pieces of paper just to kind of layer on top. Let's see, get some neutrals in here. I did want to try to get one of my paper doll ladies in here, and I don't know if, actually, I might just use that. That actually looks good. I might just throw this whole piece of paper right on here. And then I have a little bit of this lady on here, and it kind of blends in. So I like that. I don't know if I'll do it. I'll do it right here. I'll have that right in the middle. Sometimes you just throw stuff on your project, and it ends up looking good. So I'm just going to go with it. And with the Masterboards, I mean, you can stop whenever you want. If you just want to do this, that's fine too, because I think that looks really good too. I like to add just a few more elements, just some, you know, images and things like that, just to kind of add interest. But, you know, if you just want to pattern paper, just kind of like a little quilted type or quilt type pattern, you can just stop here and trim it apart and make your journal cards or whatever you want to make out of it. And it would look really good too. So I'm just going to put that right in the middle, like that. I like this color too, because it's kind of like a neutral, and it sort of like helps your eye rest a little bit, because there's a lot of different patterns going on here. Plus it's got the black, which black is another color that kind of lets your eye rest a little. So I really like the way that looks. Okay, so I'm going to keep going. I like that. Okay, I didn't want to cover up too many of my top elements, but I really like this. So I'm going to leave this so it kind of gives a bigger kind of place in the middle. Then I've got kind of this kind of blank spot, or kind of, it looks like a textured paper, but I've got areas where I can add some cutout elements. So I think that's what I'm going to do there. So let me get this down. Yeah, it's good to have, sometimes it's good to have just kind of a plain back, or a little bit of a plainer background if you want to put some other images on top. You know, so I'm looking at some of the boxes of my florals and things like that, and then I've got like kind of a neutral background to put things on it. It'll be look a little bit better. So let me add this here. I want to say this paper here is from the Hobby Lobby paper section, where you can buy the single sheets of paper. I do like this though. It's kind of it looks like like a burlap, but it's just paper. It's funny. I didn't end up thinking this was going to have like a kind of a strawberry theme, but I do love strawberries, and but it's funny how it just kind of is turning into that, and I like it. Okay, so I'm going to kind of have this up at a little bit of a different angle here. That looks great. Okay, now I've got some space. I can add some little elements here, and then I think that'll be good. I can even do these things. I don't know how I never know when to stop. I don't know how far to go. I'm going to keep these because I might want to use these. I kind of like those. let me see. Well, and I like too that I added the neutral colors because it's kind of like a brown that will work really well with my fall themed journals. So when I turn these into journaling cards or whatever I cut this up into, the little bit of brown will kind of be pulled in for fall. And because there's a lot of kind of like bright springy colors here. So this kind of calms it down a little bit. Let's see. Okay, let me see if I have any more little bits of paper in here. Kind of have more, the green is more of a tealish green, although I do have this bright green here, but I don't know. I think it's time for elements. So like little bits and pieces from my Maggie Holmes boxes. Let's see what else we have here. Let's see. This is more of kind of a 60s style. Let's see what we have here. Oh, I kind of like that. Do I have any pink in here? I have a little bit up here. I like that. This is kind of like a concert ticket. That kind of goes with a kind of a county fair type idea. So keep that in mind. This is just, this is a bunch of, I think this is like Maggie Holmes stuff. I have so many Maggie Holmes items. Happy Memory. I like this because it's black. So again, it kind of helps your eye to rest a little bit. There. I really like the way that looks. Okay, let's see. Another thing that's always good to do is, you have things going in different directions. You can also have different shapes on top of the Masterboard just to make it more interesting. I'm thinking of like maybe some circle shapes or something like that. It kind of depends. I think for me, if I'm going to use a circle shape, I want to make sure I know where I'm going to trim down my Masterboard so things don't get cut off. That's just the way I work. Sometimes it might not even matter and, you might not care. So I was thinking that might look kind of interesting. I don't know, though. I might just keep it lines. I mean, I think for this, since I am using it as cards, and also after you trim the Masterboard up, you can always add some more elements to it too, like the pieces. Like if you cut them up into journaling cards, you can always like kind of build up the card a little bit and add some more stickers and things like that. So that's another option too. So you can add your circles and things later. Okay, so I'm going to have these flowers be here because it kind of gives a triangle look. So your eye kind of moves in a triangle. So you've got the flower here, and then the flower here, or you can go in the other direction. You can go flower, flower, lady, flower, flower, or flower, lady, flower. And I kind of like that just kind of fills in a little bit. So I'm going to add these. And then I think we're going to call this one done. Put that right there. That kind of fills in a little bit here. I think that looks good. So this whole board here kind of has, your eye can kind of move around a little bit because you've got, something here, a little bit of black to kind of rest the eyes a little bit here with some words. kind of a focal point in the middle with the lady. You've got some designs, the kind of triangle going on with the flower designs. All the colors are kind of pulled in together and they all kind of coordinate. And then you've got kind of this neutral space where you can lay more things on top. So I think this is done. I'm going to stop here. Like I said, I can always add more things as I trim this apart, but I really am happy with the way this turned out. Let me show you a little bit more of a closer look so you can kind of see all the layers and images and things. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make a few more of these 12 by 12 Masterboards, and then I'm going to do a separate video and show you how I trim them apart to get the most out of them as far as using them for journaling cards or tags, or even maybe punch out things too. We'll kind of see how, how they turn out. But I thought this would be a good start. And then, like I said, I'll make another video just kind of showing you how I use these. So let me know if you have any questions. And thanks again for joining me today. And I'll see you in my next video.